Joining me on set is California Republican Kevin McCarthy, who until last week served as the Speaker of the House. So, Mr. McCarthy, today you held a press conference where you outlined a 5-point plan to deal with the situation in Israel. And I do want to get to that. But first, do you have any unique insight into what's happening in Israel? Are you still being briefed despite the fact that you are no longer Speaker of the House?
I'm not briefed because I'm no longer Speaker, so I don't do the Gang of Eights. But I've had a long relationship and history with Israel. So those like the Speaker of the House there, I'm talking to those in the Knesset, I'm talking to the ambassadors. So, and those are on the ground and serving in the military itself. I'm speaking to them. So I know firsthand what has transpired. From the moment I came into Congress, I have always led every term the Republicans over there to Israel to understand the differences. And I even made it bipartisan with Steny Hoyer. My first international trip as Speaker was to Israel to speak for the 75th anniversary of the creation of Israel in the Knesset, only the second Speaker ever to do that. And I was supposed to lead the Republicans at the end of this month there as well. This is devastating. This is a combination. When I was speaking to the Speaker of the Knesset, Ohana, I was talking about it being 9/11. They're talking about it also being Pearl Harbor, surprised on a Jewish holiday. You watch it at the number. If it's 800 Israelis, that's equivalent to 30,000 Americans. Right. And not only is it a terrorist attack, we've got to be very clear. This is the equivalency of ISIS. Hamas has to be destroyed. Right. And we have to stay strong with where we are, but we have to lead. It's concerning to me that the president put a lid. The world is collapsing around us. This is where you have to show real leadership, show adults, and keep your head. The first thing we do, we had 9 Americans killed, as we know. We know they're American hostages. This cannot be Afghanistan. We can't leave one American behind.
So if we're talking about leadership, though, sir, respectfully, the Republican Party, which is in the majority in the House of Representatives right now, is leaderless.
Yes.
And at this point, is there even a Republican leader in the House right now that is receiving these intelligence briefings, that is learning about
Patrick
what's happening?
McHenry, but if there's a concern, if there's a concern about being leaderless, remember why we are. Right. Only because of 8 Republicans and every single Democrat. They made a political decision because they thought they could win a majority if they took me off the playing field. I'm still a member of Congress. Right. I've probably had the closest relationship with those in Israel. That's why this isn't about being Speaker. This is about America leading. I want to see America do a 5-point plan. First, we've got to get our Americans back. Never leave America behind. Secondly, we have to support Israel, give them the medical supplies, but more importantly, we want to make sure we replenish them with the weaponry they need, especially when it comes to the Iron Dome. I know there's a number of Democrats who voted against it, but what you're concerned about here, an Iron Dome is a defensive weapon, but it only has about 20 missiles in it. When a missile goes up, it will calculate where that missile is going to go, and it shoots up to knock it out of the sky. But what Hamas is doing is trying to overwhelm it with 5,000, and what they'll do at the beginning is send dumb rockets to see if they take out all the Iron Domes. So then they'll send the precision guided. That's why we should take an action now in the medical supplies. The third thing we should do is freeze that $6 billion, but more importantly, stop Iran from being able to produce the oil. If you watch the foreign currency reserves, in 2020, they only had $4 billion. Now they have $70 billion. They've become more successful, stronger under the Biden administration. And they were only producing 400,000 barrels a day under the last administration. They're now 3 million. The sanctions are already there. They're not being enforced. We should make sure they're being enforced, and we should fill that void with American petroleum to be able to produce it here.
Okay, so this is a robust plan that you're outlining. It's effectively useless unless there is some sort of consensus within your conference to make it happen.
I don't think it's useless.
Well, but let me ask you this. The Republicans are going to meet tomorrow, and they're going to have a conversation about replacing you. Are you a candidate in that conversation?
No, I'm not a candidate. Whoever the conference picks, I'm going to support.
But if the conference chooses you, if there's been a number of moderate Republicans who have come out and said that they think that you should attempt to reclaim the speakership, if that were to happen, would you accept the position?
96% of their... Let the conference decide that. The conference has to unify.
But you would have to be a player in that, wouldn't you?
I'm not going to be a player in that. The conference, because if you're going to allow 4%, eight individuals to partner with all the Democrats. Look, this is a Gates,
But that
Mace,
fundamentally isn't going to change, sir.
Well, listen, this is a Gates, a Mace, and a Pelosi trio. And they've got to decide if they want to become a majority or not. I'm a conservative who believes in governing. When we had a debt ceiling, I made sure government stayed open, but at the same time, it was the largest cut in American history. We got work requirements. We had the first chance to have NEPA reform. When the government was about to be shut down a week or so ago, think for one moment where we would be today if government was shut down. A number of our members want to do that. I said no. I made sure government was open.
Right, but sir, I understand where you're going with this.
Yes.
But none of that changes the fundamental issue here, that those 8 still exist and that there isn't a Republican that has 217 votes, which would require
we'll see.
right now.
They haven't been in the room yet. Give them the opportunity. Let them decide.
But you could right now officially say that you're no longer interested in the job as you did last week.
The conference, if you want to talk about that, that's not why I'm here. We're watching a war take before our eyes.
But don't you think that's an important
what I think is
clarity
important,
that needs to be made?
No, I think the clarity here is 3 years ago, there wasn't a war in Ukraine. 3 years ago, Israel didn't have the most Jewish individuals killed along with Americans since the Holocaust. So what I'm seeing right now is something that is leaderless. I have watched the president do a barbecue, tweet about things that nobody cares about, and put a lid on today when the world is looking for leadership. I laid out a 5-point plan based upon my relationships with America and Israel, understanding the importance of that. Whatever happens in speakership is fine with me, but it's not fine with me watching a world fall around me. So I want to make sure that we do something about this. The other thing we need to do as well is we need to make sure we are vulnerable at our same time. It is an intel failure in America that we didn't know this was going to happen. And what's happening on our southern borders? Do you realize that in 2019, there wasn't one person caught on the FBI terrorist watch list? As of today, this year, there's 151.
Right.
They're coming from 100. No, this Americans need to.
Off track.
No, we're not getting off track because this is what's happening. You just had a report where your own reporter was laying on the ground being shot at with our closest ally, the only democracy in the Middle East. And what we're having here is a president that puts a lid on something with no idea. Right. And we're vulnerable because there could be a cell in America today for that same reason.
But you don't have any evidence of that. There's no evidence. You
know what I do have an evidence
of that?
Well, let me give you the evidence. So when I first went down to the border a number of years ago, and they told me they were catching people on the terrorist watch list, this administration said I was lying. And you know what? I wasn't lying. We were true. There's 160 different countries coming across there. There's a number of people.
So let's talk about the border.
Let's talk about those who came from Yemen.
You wanted to have a negotiation to try and come up with a plan to solve the border crisis. That was part.
I have a plan for it. We passed it.
But wouldn't it have been a better tact for you and your conference to find some sort of negotiating posture with the Democrats in the conference, with the Democrats in the Senate, and find some sort of compromise position with funding for Ukraine that would also have included some sort of border security package?
Okay, well, let's be very clear.
That was never even entertained, unless you're going to tell me different.
I'm going to tell you different, because apparently you haven't been paying attention. You know what the House did?
You passed a bill, but you didn't negotiate.
Tell me when I can answer your question.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, we passed H.R. 2, border security, which dealt with it. You know what the Democrats in the Senate? Well, the Democrats in the House all voted no. The Democrats in the Senate wouldn't bring it up. I've been very clear with the White House. We kept government open for 45 days. I was very clear with them. If they wanted to deal, they have $9 billion with Ukraine right now. But if they wanted to do something on Ukraine, they've got to do something about America. Been very clear about that.
So is the option now, that especially with the situation in Israel, calling for more funding for Israel, would you say, but as a member of Congress, you told me 2 seconds ago you still have power. If there was a package that included funding for Israel, funding for the border, and funding for Ukraine, is that a negotiating area where you think you could get all sides to it?
I haven't seen anything there, but the one thing I know is I wouldn't sit back. I would show the world right now that we're going to stand with Israel. I would put something on the floor today.
Do you feel that same way about Ukraine?
Because Ukraine has $9 billion and Israel is in the middle of a war with nothing. Israel is having 5,000 missiles there. They've had 800 people die, which would be equal to 30,000 Americans. We had 9 Americans killed and Americans held in hostage right now. If you want to continue to hold hostage for something else, I would like to see a president that wouldn't put a lid on it. I'd like to see a president walk before and talk to the American public what's going on. I would like to see the leader of the free world talk to the world and tell the rest of them. If they get involved in this, it's got a problem. I'd like him to say that Hamas needs to be destroyed. I'd also like him to freeze the money and stop the appeasement to Iran. You know, the sanctions are already there. Enforce the sanctions so Iran doesn't have $60 billion to continue
But before you go, sir, before you, I want to definitively make this clear. You are not ruling yourself out as a potential Speaker of the House.
The conference can do whatever they are. I am not a candidate for it. The conference makes out whoever they think.
And then finally, you've really laid out the case why you believe that you're the best person to handle this. Does that mean that you don't think Steve Scalise or Jim Jordan have the ability to handle this? Do you have more experience in that regard?
I'm not sure what type of news you're trying to make, but let me just be very clear.
I'm just asking you direct questions.
Yeah, and I'm just explaining to you the world is at war right now, and I'm trying to make sure
And the world is at
leads.
war without a leader in the House of Representatives right now.
Thanks to every single Democrat and 8 Republicans. 96% of the Republicans said no. And for the same reason the Democrats picked it with the 8. The idea that Gates, Mace, Pelosi trio wants to do this, I think they were wrong about that.
Okay, will there be a Speaker of the House by this time next week?
I believe so.
Okay, former Speaker Kevin McCarthy, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.